Okay, guys, so what we have here is the nicest, well, I would say it needs a little help, but um, what you have here is the Dracena Tarzan. The Tarzan, it's fairly new to my area. I have not seen a whole lot of these, and they're growing in popularity. I think the big thing about them is that they, I think a lot of people are intimidated by them for good reason. I mean, they're kind of heavy. I mean, you gotta wheel them around. You gotta kind of wrestle with them. They are somewhat finicky, and what I mean by that is that you wouldn't need as much water as you think you would. You would look at this plant and think it's tropical, it it's big, and it's going to need a lot of water, but really the opposite is true. Um, Let me throw out a quick disclaimer about this one right here. You could probably see it's got mealy bugs, and I've been doing a lot to keep that at bay. I got my neem oil right here. I spray it all the time, and then I've been keeping them at bay with rubbing alcohol and water and yada yada yada. They're going away. They're just going away slowly, and I know most of you would say I would quarantine that plant, but um, don't really have too many options right now. It's just gonna have to be where it's at. But that's what you're gonna have to do if you do find yourself with this problem here, which is mealy bugs. Actually, they're, I believe, off of this plant. I think you just see the just kind of the aftermath. They kind of suck the color or the pigment out of the plant, and you're left with what you see here. Hopefully, the camera doesn't pick it up. It's kind of unsightly. And anyway, I got off track. What I wanted to talk about is sunlight with these plants. First and foremost, it is a so it's from South America, and it's not going to be the tallest plant in the jungle. So therefore, it's kind of under a canopy, and it's going to see more of a medium light exposure. Medium light is perfect for this. But you're thinking, well, it's right next to the window, so wouldn't that be full sun? Uh, it's in the corner, so it's somewhat limited. And actually, the um, strongest sun exposure that it is getting is coming from the east, and so it's going to get more of a morning sun, and it misses all of that evening sun. I did have it in another corner of the house at some other point, and it did great there, and it was close to a grow lamp, and but it was 15 feet away from any of my windows, and it did fine for a while, and then I rinsed it off one time, and because I started seeing these bugs, I took it outside and rinsed it really hard with a hose, and it freaked it out, and the leaves just dropped after a while. They didn't fall off; they just started drooping. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but anyway, I slowly nursed it back to health. So you can give these bright light. You can give them bright light. I just wouldn't put them outside in full sun. I would give it bright indirect light, or bright indirect light works the best. I wouldn't put it in full sun, and I definitely wouldn't put it in low light. So there's that. Next is soil. The soil, and you probably heard me explain this before, but with any dracenas, things like that, any plant with a nice thick trunk like this, you're going to want to do a 50-50 blend of potting soil and cactus mix. And the reason is the cactus mix has a good aggregate in it that just helps it drain really well. Some people might add more perlite to their potting mix, but I've found that a 50-50 mix of potting mix and cactus mix is about where you want it to be to get the best drainage. And with fertilizer, these don't need a whole lot of it. They can be fed just 2 to 3 times a year. Um, During the growing season, start it off in spring, do another dose in summer, and maybe one more time in the fall. But it's really not necessary. They're not the heaviest of feeders, but they do require some nutrients to keep all of that foliage nice and green. Humidity, I would make sure you do supply this plant with a good amount of humidity for the fact that, well, one thing, these leaf tips, they could possibly brown up with low humidity. I've got humidifiers, and all of my plants are on pebble trays, which maybe I'll show in some other video. But pretty cool technique. I don't see too many other people do it, but what I do is I take here. I'll show you. I take a pebble tray or a pot, and I take some smaller, I guess you would call those little saucers, and I flip them upside down so that my plant pot can sit on top of that. And then I filled the perimeter with rocks, little pebbles. You can get them at any garden store or hardware store. And I fill that, well, really, I don't even have to fill it. Once I water, I generally water till the water drains out the bottom. So there's another good tip for you. Make sure that you have a pebble or a rock or something in the bottom of your pots to make sure that you're getting ample drainage. And that, there you go. You have water in that pebble tray, and that is what's going to evaporate slowly and provide that humidity. And so anyway, so we talked about the soil, we talked about the light, we talked about humidity, feeding. Really, it's a simple plant to take care of. I mean, it just really makes the corner of your room just light up. It's it's a good, easy starter plant, really. I think, just for the fact that it doesn't really need a whole lot, and to me, it's not very finicky. So, if you find it out in your garden center and you feel like bring a little bit of the tropics home to your neck of the woods, then give it a try out. and comment below and let me know what you think. Feel free to hit the like and the subscribe and ring that bell so you can get notified when I post more of my future videos. Thanks a lot. We'll see you on the next one.